I'm curious, how many of you have ever done elementary school drop off and pickup? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I see a few faces that didn't raise their hands that I'm pretty sure have, but that's all right. That's all right. Okay, so if you don't know, the way drop off and pickup works in elementary school especially is that you have all these kids, right? And they all need either dropped off or picked up, which means you have a lot of cars going through a very small area in a very short amount of time. And some neighborhoods, that's even more difficult than others. The school closest to here, which is the one my kids went to, is Wysong. That's at least lucky enough to have a long drop-off lane, but I will tell you, it is chaos every single day, twice every single day. It is absolute chaos. Now, I've been here just over 6 years now. We've been at that school for just for 6 years, and doing that routine every day. My wife, I almost called her mom because she's the kid's mom, doing the drop-offs. I do the pickups in the afternoon, and so I'd wait in the line, get the kids and all of that. Well, my youngest just started middle school. So there was a moment last spring when I was sitting there in the Wysong drop-off lane and I thought to myself, I'm almost done with this. I think it was just 3 more to go and it will be my last Wysong pickup. And then I thought, oh no, there's only 3 more to go and it's my last elementary school pickup. And it was a true bittersweet moment where at the same time I was glad to be almost done with that particular little slice of chaos, but also realizing just how quickly it had gone and just how much I had enjoyed those elementary school days, which for our family was about to come to an end. Now, I'm a nostalgic type. I still miss the toddler days. You all know that I love Fred Rogers, and early education is something that I'm passionate about. And I miss those early development years ago. It feels like just a couple of months ago, well, it was just a couple of months ago that I had an elementary schooler. It was only 3 years ago that I had 2 at Wysong. And it feels like only yesterday that we hadn't even started elementary school and we were just watching Daniel Tiger. It feels like it was yesterday. I know it's a cliche, but it's true, and I'm guessing all of you can resonate with that as too. There are different kinds of wealth in this world. You know, most of us spend our lives aiming for accomplishment or financial wealth so that we can have a healthy retirement fund and do what we need to do to get in life, or chasing accomplishment, like I say. And it makes sense. We have to earn a living, provide for our families, save enough for retirement, hopefully with a few luxuries on the way. That's no secret. But there are other types of wealth too, aren't there? Like the relational wealth that we see in our kids and in those moments of growing up that go by so quickly. There's not only relational in our family, but in our community as well. That is a type of wealth when we do good for the people around us and help form our community in the best possible ways. And that's an important kind of wealth too. What's the point of having good finances if it doesn't do good? Health is a type of wealth. Now, there's physical health and there's mental health. Beauty is something. Now, I'm not talking about our own beauty so much, but appreciating, whether it be art or whether it be music, whether it be nature. There is a wealth all around us that we take for granted most of the time. And time. You know, time may be one of the most limited resources that any of us have. And it's a type of wealth too. And if you're like me, especially listening to that song a few minutes ago, you spend most of your time flat out tired from trying to keep up with all the other good things for fear you're going to miss out on them because they go by too quickly. You know, our default is to spend so much of our time on accomplishment and on finances and on family, maybe some with what's left over, but we spend so much on it to the neglect of some of the others, some of the relationships that we should be maintaining, of our health too. So I want to ask you, if you had to rank these different types of wealth, if you had to rank them for how you spend your life, how would you do it? Now, I don't mean what you should do. I don't mean aspirational. I mean how you actually spend your time. How would you rank them? It seems to me that one of the most dangerous words in the English language is later. It seems to me that one of the most dangerous words in the English language is later. And I wonder what kind of things in your life you might be putting off until later. So our sermon series right now is called Shaped by the Rhythm, and it's about the rhythms of life, about how our routines change, but more so about how the way we live our life, the routines we fall into, the patterns that we live, shape us. Now, they shape us whether we know it or not. If we're running around busy and harried all the time with not enough rest or whatever it may happen to be for you, that's shaping you. And what I'm hoping to do with this series is say that, well, it's shaping you one way or the other, so let's do it on purpose. Let's ask ourselves how we can change our routines, how we can do whatever we can to determine the rhythms of our life so that we're in control of it, so that we give it to God, so that we're formed and shaped for the right things instead of just living by default. Because one way or another, that rhythm of life shapes us. And it's no coincidence that I'm doing it here at the start of the school year, because I know that many of us are having our rhythms changed, and it's an opportunity to think about that afresh. Now, of course, that's true for the families in our church, but I'll tell you, I talked with a grandparent this week who said that she had been helping with school pickups for the last, I don't know how many years, and that changed this year because the kids got older. And it's a reminder that it's not even just school, but doctor's appointments, social engagements, all of these things shape us. And so let's live them on purpose. And our scripture for today, for talking about the danger of the word later, comes from Luke's gospel. Now, it's a moment in Jesus' ministry, and you need to know where in Jesus' ministry this is. So we start out, the Christmas story and all that. He spends most of his life going from place to place teaching, but he's always known that his journey was going to end at the cross, that it was going to end in Jerusalem. And just before this passage, like just a verse or two before this passage, Jesus has made the decision that it's time. Now, I'm sure there's part of him that wanted to go around teaching, that wanted to help more people directly by healing them or whatever it would be, but he knew what had to be done, and he had just made the decision, it's time. We're going to turn toward Jerusalem. We're going to head to the cross. Let's do this. And then, as he was traveling, beginning the trek to Jerusalem, this happens. As Jesus and his disciples traveled along the road, someone said to him, "I will follow you wherever you go." They don't know what they're asking, do they? It's not going to be easy. He responds, "Foxes have dens and birds in the sky have nests, but the human one has no place to lay his head." It's good wisdom teaching. We'll pick that one apart another day. But somebody else says to him, No. Jesus said to someone else, "Follow me." And the other person replied, "Lord, first let me go and bury my father." Jesus said to him, "Let the dead bury their own dead, but you go and spread the news of God's kingdom." That's kind of challenging, right? He gives another one, though. Someone else said to Jesus, "I will follow you, Lord, but first let me say goodbye to those in my house." And Jesus said to him, "No one who puts a hand on the plow and looks back is fit for God's kingdom." Now that seems harsh, doesn't it? Here's somebody who wants to just go and bury his father. Here's another person who says he'll follow Jesus, but he wants to go and say goodbye to those he loved first. And Jesus responds harshly, quite frankly. Now, one thing you have to remember is that Jesus did usually teach in hyperbole. You know what I mean by hyperbole? Like saying things big to make a point. Like if your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Jesus doesn't literally mean gouge your eye out or cut your hand off. What he means is that this is serious. Take it seriously. And he's trying to get your attention when he says those kinds of things. That happens throughout his teaching, and here it is too. He's trying to make a point, and so he's saying things in an extra bold manner. But more than that, he's made the decision to stop wandering and head for Jerusalem. And he knows that he can't stop, that he can't delay, that he can't wait. Can you imagine that if everybody who wanted to follow him to the cross but wanted to do something else first, if Jesus said, okay, I'll wait? He'd never make it. He'd never make it to Jerusalem if he did that. He knew that this moment would not come again. It's not that it's bad to go and bury your father. It's not that it's bad to go and say goodbye to those you love. But you have to balance that with the fact that this moment won't come again, that Jesus is on the move, that he's on the way to what he came to do, and that if you want to join him, it's now or never. There is an urgency to this moment. Either you follow me now or you don't. Now, three things I want to point out here. One is that Jesus interrupts later. Jesus interrupts later plans. Lord, let me go bury my father. Let me say goodbye to those that I love. What they're asking for isn't bad. It's normal. It's respectable. But Jesus pushes on it because oftentimes the holy comes as an interruption. Jesus knows that oftentimes the best things in life are the things that we don't expect, that interrupt even the important things. And if we wait for a more convenient time, it's gone. It's like saying, well, I'll do this important thing once life slows down a little bit. It's never going to get done, is it? It's like saying, oh, well, maybe when the kids are older. Well, the moment passes. Or perhaps it's maybe I'll do it when the promotion comes, or when I'm better off financially, I'll do this particular thing. And then the moment passes. The holy has a tendency to interrupt the normal. It has a tendency to interrupt even the respectable. And if we miss it, it's gone. One of the most dangerous words you can use is later. Now, the second thing I want to say is that later is almost always a lie that we tell to ourselves. Later feels safe. Or at least it feels safer than now. Later sounds like you're being responsible. Later feels like it gives us the illusion of control. But the truth is that later is how we delay faithfulness without feeling unfaithful about it. Are any of you familiar with the concept of deferred maintenance? Yeah, I got a few chuckles for the front row there. Let me flesh it out for you a little bit. Delayed maintenance is when you know something needs to be fixed, but you say later. You notice that the roof is starting to look a little bit old, that it's starting to have some problems with it, but roofs are expensive, and so you say, oh, I'm hoping to be in better financial shape later. Let's wait a little bit on the roof. Now, how does this almost always end up? Not good. Later, or deferred maintenance is when you hear a noise in your car and you think to yourself, I really should have that noise in my car get checked out. But then you say later. How does that usually end up? Way worse than if you got it checked out right away. That's what deferred maintenance is. It pretty much always ends up more expensive if you wait. Well, later is like deferred maintenance for the heart. It's taking what you know your heart needs now, what you can sense God is calling you to now, and saying later. Now, maybe you'll still get some good in the future, even if you wait, but the truth is, it's almost always better to do it now. Jesus doesn't condemn that man for loving his family, for wanting to bury his father. Jesus doesn't condemn him for that at all. What he does is he calls out the deferred heart. What he does is he says that no, you need me, you need God now. And no matter how good the later is, that still doesn't change the fact that you need this now. Later means a deferred heart. It's delaying what we actually need. Now, the third thing I want to point out is that saying yes now changes you. It reshapes your rhythm is what it does. Jesus doesn't ask for perfection. What he asks for is the next step. He says, come with me right now into this moment. And when you do, when you take that step, you begin to change. It begins to shape not just your life, but it begins to shape your heart. It begins to bring you that change that Jesus knows you need. You know, one of the points of this series is that if we don't let God shape our life, the rhythm of our life, then something else will. So if you delay and choose only one part of what's true, well, that's what you become. If you chase accomplishment, if you chase financial wealth, if you chase any one part of what it means to be human, you do it to the detriment of the rest. That's what you become. Good, bad, or more likely, partial. But if you answer Jesus' call to this moment, if you answer Jesus' call to now, if you let that rhythm shape your life, it will make all the difference. Jesus doesn't say, get your house in order and then follow me. He doesn't say, follow me and I'll make sure you don't have to change. What he says is, follow me now because you need this. You know you need it, but you need it even more than you know. I'll say it again. One of the most dangerous words we can ever use is later. And I'm going to ask this again, too. I wonder what kinds of things in your life you might be putting off until later. Well, here's what you need to do today, and it's simple and predictable. Ask this question: where are you investing your best self? Are you investing your best self in your work? Are you investing your best self in your family? Are you investing your best self in your community? Are you investing it in enjoyment of this good world? Are you investing it in making the most of your time? Where are you investing your best self? And no matter what the answer, no matter how good that your answer may be, where are you neglecting something precious? And what have you been putting off by saying later? And then pick one small action that says yes now. Now, maybe that means taking your spouse for a walk and listening deeply. You know, maybe it means putting down your phone to watch the sunset or just to take in a tree. Maybe it means starting the journaling habit you keep meaning to begin. Maybe it means reaching out to somebody that you've been meaning to forgive or someone that you've been meaning to thank. What's one small way you can say yes now to the thing that you've neglected? Big life change doesn't happen in one giant yeses. It happens by not delaying the small ones. And it can start now because this is one of those moments. Jesus is on the move. Life is on the move. And this moment will not come again. You can choose right now to make the effort to reorder your priorities and start saying yes to better things. One of the most dangerous words you can use is later. And so may you instead say now. Would you pray with me? Oh God, thank you that you are on the move. It's how we know that you are working to make this world a better place. And God, it's not wrong that sometimes our first nature is to hesitate. But thank you that you give us courage. Thank you that you give us trust. Fill us with all of these things. And when we see your moment, when we see you on the move and know that this moment will not come again, help us, O God, to say yes now. We pray it in the name of the one who calls us, Jesus himself. Amen.